You know how fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast. If you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot. Leave now. Run to your safe space. Get your little cloth for your tears. All the opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any local or government agency. Welcome to MOTORCOP Chronicles podcast.
Oh, it ain't midweek news, though. Good afternoon, everybody, on this humble event evening.
This is not the original, not the midweek news.
Right. We just felt, in our hearts, especially there's a time in our nation. I can tell you, I don't feel much more separated now than I did.
Looks like he froze again.
And as well. And I can tell you that we're super divided right now. And a lot of people don't understand the implications that happened on that fateful day where evil struck American soil and murdered thousands, upwards of 3,000 individuals on a day that was just a beautiful morning in America. And I wanted to kind of do this along with Iceman. And you see all these kids nowadays, like my son, he went to school and he came home today. And of course, a good teacher's going to show the 9/11 story, just like they do on Pearl Harbor Day. And they educate you on what happened that day. And there's little kids in the school that were laughing about it and the events and stuff like that. And that's because they don't know and they've never been taught, and they don't, for lack of a better word, they have ignorance as juveniles, because they don't understand what we as adults understand now. And some of us weren't adults back then. I was in high school, sitting at my desk, watching it on a little TV in the top corner of the classroom. Iceman was probably riding dinosaurs. I don't know, but
no, I was on a motorcycle cop, but I was working a 10 to 6. Other people, I talked about it last year during the same time, but we'll say it again. I was working a 10 to 6 shift, and I was gotten ready already, and I forget what. I wish I could remember the name of the damn show. It was some like ER type doctor show. I'm just sitting there watching that, waiting, eating time up, waiting to go and to go to work, and all of a sudden, on flashed up there, the twin towers, and one of them was on fire, and the second plane hadn't hit yet. And I'm sitting there watching it, and all of a sudden, here comes the second plane and hits on the news, and I'm thinking,
yeah, everybody thought the first one was just a freak accident.
Well, no, I'm thinking it was part of the TV show I was watching at first. I'm sitting there, and then I realized, when the news thing popped, stuff, I was like, it was real. It's like you're just sitting there in shock that how could this have been, this could happen on U.S. soil.
Freaky. Yeah, I remember watching the first one hit, and everybody's like, oh, my God, look, it's going to be terrible for the firefighters. They got to go up there and, rescue everybody. And I'm like, wow, I've never seen that amount of destruction. And everybody just kind of thought, okay, well, this is just an accident, but we're all just going to sit back and watch, because we've never seen anything like this that in my life, especially not televised. You might have heard about crazy stuff, but yeah. And then all of a sudden, because the news crews were focused on the smoke bellowing and stuff like that, here comes a second jet, and it made that pass right through this news camera. And just wham, hit that second one. And the minute that second one hit,
just fire and explosion.
You want to cancel school, cancel this. Disney was closed. It was all hell.
Well, like Holstera was saying about the kids now, especially very young children, not getting it. I can understand they don't have this. I mean, this is basically a history lesson for them in their textbook, but I can kind of understand, not joking or taking light of it, but because I remember when I was little, my mom talking about when John F. Kennedy got shot and killed. She was in high school at the time, and she would say, you know, how they felt and how emotional it was and all stuff like that. I never quite got it, because I'm like, you know, I mean, she didn't know the man, and I was, you know, stuff like that. Well, I understand what she's talking about, how, you know, I wasn't in New York. I didn't lose anyone personally in New York. But I watched it, and just being a patriotic person, you know, it stirs up emotions. I can imagine, you know, the cops that worked it and the ones that are in firemen, the people that are still alive that didn't get cancer and die.
Yeah, think of all the ones that went out to even help, you know, get them out. That 9/11 still killing people this day, you know, with asbestos poisoning and stuff like that. It did affect a lot more people than the ones that were in those buildings and the airplanes at the time.
I just watched the thing. Had a lady that was covered in dust. Her picture was like spread worldwide. She
I mean,
escaped.
you couldn't tell who was white, who was black, Asian. Everybody was gray.
But she recently died of stomach cancer. In 50-something years old. You know, most all them firemen that were there working and the ones that got out alive and stuff like that, I think most all of them have died from some type of cancer.
I know one, but he is in very bad health. But he is a 9/11 firefighter survivor. He was one of the ones there that day. And man, the stories, you ever find a veteran like that of anything, law enforcement, that's been through something, and that person wants to share that with you? I don't care if you have a meeting with the president of the United States. I would personally sit and listen to that person's stories, because the odds are you're never going to hear it from the horse's mouth again. And I've learned a lot of knowledge over the years. I mean, shoot, Iceman never shuts up, so I got to learn everything.
Well, if you know, if you're going to learn it from the president's mouth, you ain't going to learn much, because he's going to bed.
Well, he's not even going to bed. I think right now. Well, no, granted, he's probably in bed now. But he decided to stop off in Alaska to try to deter China, and then ended up with a speech where he promoted China, and then said he wanted to take a nap.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep.
Instead of visiting the 9/11 memorial, and when he was asked why he is the first president since the tragedy to stop going, he responded with, "Presidents stopped responding or going to Pearl Harbor a lot sooner than we did with 9/11.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
He's a joke.
I don't know.
But I think that's what is up with the kids. I do want to say this. From experiencing it from me being law enforcement after 9/11 for a good year afterwards, it's the closest and most patriotic I have ever seen this country.
Oh, American flags everywhere, man.
I know where I live. Of course, I live in a red area. Where I live at after 9/11, and up to a year or so afterwards, being a law enforcement or firefighter, any kind of first responder, you couldn't go nowhere without somebody thanking you or telling you how much they appreciated you, buying your lunches for you. It was an overwhelming experience. This whole entire country came together as one. Nobody saw white, black, brown, green, orange, or nothing. Everybody
was just Americans.
We were Americans that had been attacked and wanted,
And we were pissed.
So, I mean, yeah, that nothing. The division in this country now is sad. But I got to experience that amount of patriotism from him. I actually almost went and rejoined the military after that happened.
I think we all did.
So
I went to the recruiter's office, and they're just like, "I don't think you're smart enough to fly one of those, son."
This is not PlayStation.
Yeah, right. If it was, hey, it's coming. I just coming. I know they're going to recruit me to fly an Apache from the United States one day because why not? We already have those drones that you could fly from the United States. That's just amazing, the distance on those things.
Well, I got a few things to play. I might not play all of them. I pulled the whole one. This one, in Holstera, if you need a break in and say something, just tell me to hold up a second so we're not trying to talk over it. It's about 6 minutes long. This guy was Kevin Cosgroves. I know I played it last year, but he tugs at your heartstring. This man was on the phone with the 911 operators when the towers came down with him in it. So you actually hear this man's last voice as he dies. So we're going to play it. And, like I said, if you need a break in, let me know and I'll pause it.
I got you.
All right, so what's the telephone number? I'm waiting for MC to pick up. What's the telephone number you're calling? You can do MC. You can do MC 441-2623. 441-2623.
Was that you can't hear it?
Nope.
No.
I can't hear anything. I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming if I can't, it's probably not recording either.
No, it's recording.
You're on 100.
Like I can see it on the mixer. Well, I don't know how to let you hear it.
There's cover.
What's that? Hello? Did he freeze up again? Yes, he did. He might have to call back. I'll let y'all listen to it while I'm waiting for him to call back. How's that? Nope, he's still moving. You're freezing up here and there, so I don't know what's going on with you.
Corner, northwest corner, right? Right. At number 2 World Trade Center, right? Lady, there's 3 of us in this office. We're not ready to die, but it's getting bad. I understand, sir. We don't try to all the apparatus there. I'm trying to let them know where you are. Just hold on. Oh, please, Lily. Fire Department 408. This is 1597. Call, PD. 1597. Let me talk to the caller. Where is he? He's on the line. Let me talk to him. Where's the fire, sir? There's smoke. News there. 105, 2 power. All right, sit tight. We'll get to you as soon as we can. There's some staying up, and the smoke's really bad, man. That's all we need. That's all we can do. Where are you? What floor you guys up to? We're getting there. Doesn't feel like it, man. I got young kids. I understand that, sir. We're on the way. He's on the 105th corner, northwest corner. We have no problem. Little operator? Yeah. Come on, man. Okay, we have everything, sir. I know you do, but it doesn't seem like it. You got lots of people up here. I understand. I know you got a lot in the building, but we're up on the top. Smoke rises, it's really big. We're on the floor, we're in a window. And then you have to barely breathe now. Can't see. Okay. Just try to hang it there. I'm going to say this. You say you're in an air-conditioned building. What the hell happened? Okay, I'm still here. He's been trying to fire department, trying to get to you. Does it feel like it? Okay, try to calm down so you can conserve your oxygen, okay? Try to. Thank God to blow you in from the left. It's really bad. It's blocked. It's iron. Does anybody else want to try in here? We're young men. We're not ready to die. I understand. How the hell are you going to get my ass down? I need oxygen. Yeah, They have a lot of apparatus on the scene. It doesn't feel like it, lady. You get them in from all over. They get in from Jersey. I don't give a shit, Ohio. Okay, so what's your last name? Mine's Cosgrove. I must have called about a dozen times already. Costgrove. Yeah. My wife thinks I'm all right. I called her and said I was leaving the building. I was fine, and bang. Well, I want to hold on. Yeah. Cherry. Red Cherry, you said, right? Yeah. Red Cherry is next to me. 105. Whose office? John Astro's office. That's what you said. That's the office. We're in John Astro's office. OST. ARU. ARU. Right, that's the office we're in. There's three of us in here. OST, ARU. Hello? Hello? We're looking at Financial Center. Three of us, two broken windows. Oh, God!
Oh, that's when the building first tower came down. You can hear, it's just horrible. I know you couldn't hear it.
It's like the guy that called his wife from the airplane and said, "We're about to fight the hijackers. I don't think we'll make it home." That audio itself is just heartbreaking, knowing that these American patriots knew what was about to happen and still took the action and dedicated their lives to taking that aircraft down versus allowing it to be another missile. That is true. That's a hero. On every aspect. Those passengers on, I forget, is it Flight 93, the one that went down to the Pennsylvania field?
93.
But yeah, the audio of the black box and the phone calls of the people calling home to tell their family goodbye. The entire thing, if it doesn't rattle you a little bit, there's probably something a little wrong with you. It's a little touching. But shoot, I got into an argument. It was a client's kid, and I won't mention any names, but they literally got into an argument with me, and we were talking about 9/11, and they're like, that was all just CGI. Those buildings didn't exist. And I just stopped for a second, like, okay, this kid's screwing with me because his parents are pretty smart. He can't be that stupid. And I'm like, indulge me. And he goes, same thing with the concentration camps. You know, they just made up stories. It never happened. And I'm like, oh, okay, kid. Stop playing video games and pick up a book.
Well, that's not video games. He'd be indoctrinated in school.
What the hell? I mean, look, I understand that the schools have already kind of lost their mind and started doing the whole the gender reassessment stuff as minors. That's weird. If we tried to do that when we were kids, we would have been sent away to a crazy
Not
house.
weird. It should be illegal.
But at the same time, I'm trying to stay away from that.
Froze again. What is the problem? At least y'all don't have to see the side of his head like that. But yeah, all these people that's like, oh, it's that none of this happened. Go back and watch all these old movies. I say they ain't old, they weren't old to me, but you can see the Twin Towers in all these movies from umpteen years back. From a long time ago. I mean, tragic, very tragic. Like I said, people, I'm in my 50s now. I think Holstera is about 48.
What? It's hilarious, too, because all my friends always call me old, but I'm always friends with a lot older people. I can't handle people my own age. So, like, Iceman here, I think, I don't know if you're almost 20 years older than me, but my best friend of all time, Alex, he's exactly 10 years older than me. We can literally figure out who's age by, one of the other's ages. But when I go out to these public events and these like campaigning things, they're all like, "Oh God, you're young." Yeah, thank you. But
You couldn't tell from his hairline, but
yeah, well, that's why I usually wear them hats. It makes me look super attractive because here I'm just an island boy. Island boy.
But I'm not trying to laugh. Like I said, if you have younger children, when my grandkids get a little, they ever ask me, I'll sit down and tell them, I wish I lost a lot when we had that flood down here. Was that in 18 or whatever? No, it was 16.
What, Katrina?
No, we had a bit all that flooding we had down here. I can't remember which year it was. But I had stuff in mini storage. I had actually, when that happened, how long? I mean, it's like 23 years ago or 22 years ago. I just stuck a tape in VCR and let it run on a news channel like all day, and I still had it, but it got lost in the flood. But so I had like 8 hours of original news footage from back then, and I actually did that to save it, so because I knew it was going to be part of history. So as older folks, the older ones that listen, I don't know how many young people listen. It hit us. It still hits hard, when I think about it. I don't, I didn't know anybody personally, but I know how I felt when we were being attacked. And for other people.
That was the thing, is like I was in high school and, people don't really think about it, especially if you're from the rest of the United States, but there is a very big connection between Florida and New York. New York is heavy on the taxes, so a lot of people get really good money for 20, 30 years during their career, and the minute they retire, they move to Florida. Well, then they moved to Florida.
And he froze again. I know it's not my internet, because you froze up again for a second.
But is my audio froze up or just my picture?
Everything.
Ah, Jesus.
It's the same thing. We've had some people from New York. I've talked to a garbage guy that retired from New York. He moved down here in our area because our cost of living is so much cheaper, and his retirement is so good. Money-wise, not for New York living, but for Louisiana living. Right. He's freaking rolling in it,
And that's what they do. So, but we had children in our classes that were affected directly. And it really hit Florida because I'm going to be honest with you, probably 40% of Florida is made up of New Yorkers. So.
You got anything else to say about it?
No, I just want everybody to take a little break before you go to sleep this evening and lay your head on a pillow to close your eyes and thank whoever you might think is a higher power to you, and thank them for, being alive. And fate could have been much different for all of America with events like that. And they were prevented, and the men and women of law enforcement work every day to make sure that Americans are safe. So I just keep everybody in your prayers. But you all have a wonderful night. I love every one of you. Stay safe and stay blessed. Take care.
See y'all Wednesday with a lot lighter topics, hopefully. So everybody stay safe out there. Watch your back. Watch your partner's back. Remember to smile, because Iceman can always be behind you.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things